Hey everybody, welcome to this episode where we're going to talk DJI customer support. I want to start this out by saying this is not a rant towards DJI. So this, I hope we can keep the dialogue constructive. And the idea is that we want to show you some cases that we have experienced, me and my special guest. And we're going to talk about how they were handled by DJI. And also come with some suggestions where they could actually improve the process. Before we call our guest, my guest today, Sean Oss, I will just go through, let's see what I need to say before that. Yes, maybe this video could act as a collective feedback to DJI, so they actually could learn a thing and improve their support process or their customer service. We will try to go through a program of these 4 to 5 cases, and then at the end we will look at a subscriber Q&A. So there's probably a lot of questions along the way, so we will try to handle this. Let's see. Also, I want to mention that the super chat is open, so if you're into this, any contribution is appreciated and will be put into the channel to making new content for you guys. Okay, so now we get to the point that everybody knows. Let's roll that intro. Today to talk about the DJI Customer Service, I have invited my good friend Sean Oss, that is from Dillon, Colorado. And while I'm calling him, I will just put on some footage from the area where he lives.
On the screen. They can't hear us right now, right?
They can hear us now, because now I connected the microphone. So let's go here and take this one there. Down. So now we're online, both of us. Hey Sean, and welcome to the channel. It's nice to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So we have a pretty packed program with a lot of stuff that we have experienced with the drones so far. And I don't know where we should start, but I guess we should start with the latest case that you had. You had some pretty bad experience getting a Mavic Air. Actually, you made a few videos about this, but I think you sent me a clip that I could play. So let me start by introducing that, and then you can maybe comment on it afterwards.
Okay.
Sorry about all this racket, but this controller is jacked. I've been on the port online on the computer for an hour, and I've been on hold.
Thank you for calling DJI support. My name is Phil. How can I help you today? Can I ask for a minute or two, Sean, so I can check for a solution? Okay, I'll try to ask that. I'll check on that one as well.
Oh, I appreciate that. I will package this up tonight so that we can hopefully ship it out tomorrow. Are you thinking the label will be tonight or tomorrow?
Probably estimated that will be tomorrow morning.
You never did any on best scenario when the refund would come through.
The best possible one would be at least, if I'm not mistaken, that would be estimated 4 business days after
You received the product.
receipt.
So we are back. We are back again. That was sort of this case. So maybe Sean, you want to comment a little bit on this? I'll just switch you back so everybody can see us like that. So what actually happened there?
Well, you know, I didn't intend the video to be bashing DJI in any regard. Basically, I got the Air. I was excited. I was filming just a vlog, and it was going to be an unboxing, and I was actually going to go take it and do some test footage with it, and nothing worked. And the video just sort of turned into what it did because it was sort of a real-time video. And I just happened to have the camera rolling when I called customer support, and it was just a sort of a nightmare.
So, but you basically unpacked it, and then what you tried to fire it up, and then it was beeping all over the place, and you couldn't stop it.
Yeah, well, you know, it was something happened with, from what I'm being told, it was a firmware issue with the controller. Even though I kept re-downloading the firmware again and again, it just wouldn't correct it. The controller would just beep and beep and beep, even with the cancel code. Then when you turn it back on, it would beep again, and it was just a big issue because the second issue I had with it was the charging bank. The charging bank wouldn't recharge the actual battery on the Mavic Air. So once the battery of the Mavic Air died, there was nothing I could do to recharge that to even continue trying to fix it on my own.
But I was wondering when I saw this video, because I actually experienced when the remote is running low on battery, it actually beeps that way. So don't you think it was maybe a power cell issue on the remote?
No, I don't.
That caused this?
I was able to charge the battery using my Mavic Pro charger. So the battery and the remote fully charged.
Okay, so yeah. It was surprisingly that DJI didn't knew how to stop this this beeping, because it went on for what, 2 hours?
It was, you know, I put it in the closet. In the video, it's you know, it seems like it was next to me the whole time, but it wasn't next to me the whole time. It was next to me at the beginning when I was talking to the guy, and a friend of mine came by and put it away so it wouldn't be so loud next to us. But you know, people see the videos and they think it a little differently than what it actually is.
Yeah. I actually forgot a part here, and I have a little script running here in the background. So actually, maybe you should just say a few words about yourself, because I've introduced you like my good old YouTube friend. We've known each other for a year, but maybe you could just say a few things about who you are, where you live, and what you're doing.
Sure. Well, to those who don't know me, my name is Sean. I go by Oz. I'm a tattoo artist. I own a shop in Silverthorne, Colorado called Summit Inc. I moved here from Houston, Texas, from sea level up to 9,200 feet above sea level, which was a huge change for me. And this is my first time ever living or being around snow on any kind of extended period. It's been one big adventure, you could say.
I noticed something. Every time I see videos, you're running around in short sleeve shirts and surrounded by snow. How does that work?
It's crazy. You would not believe how warm it is. My girlfriend Gina and I were just talking the other day, and we're like, "Oh, today's supposed to be 40 degrees. It's shorts weather." And I think it's due to the fact that there's very low humidity here, as well as the fact that we are 2 miles closer to the sun than what I was at sea level. So the sun rays are magnified. So if it's a sunny day out and it's 34 to 40 degrees, it feels pretty warm.
Yeah, actually, when you say that you have moved to this this altitude, you made a video at some point show where you actually flew your Mavic up to the legal limit, I guess, in that from that height.
Yes.
That got a lot of attention.
Yes, I think it was I flew up to 12,200 feet. And so the title of the video was something along, I fly my drone over 12,000 feet. And no one actually was paying attention to the video or read the description. and they assume I was flying from sea level or something to 12,000 feet, where I was actually taking off at around 11,900 feet. So I was nowhere near even close to 400 feet. And people were flipping out in the comments, or at least the people that weren't actually watching or paying attention to the video flipped out.
I paid attention to the part where you flew through the skies there. That was a pretty nice shot.
That was a very lucky video. I flew up and there was a light haze of clouds, and on camera they came. They looked really thick on camera, but they were pretty light. You could sort of see through them. It just looked like a light fog, and flew right up through them. And next thing you know, just mountains everywhere.
Okay, yeah, we could probably talk a long time about all the videos that we have made in the past, but to get us back to the subject, the customer service. So you had this beeping Mavic Air, and you had a long talk with the customer support or the customer service employees, but you didn't really get a solution until quite a while after. So maybe you could comment a little bit on that.
I have notes with the dates next to me of all the mess. You see, it's 2 pages of just notes of the runaround I got. It was a nightmare. It was a headache. It's definitely a headache.
So what would you have done differently if you had this issue again?
If I wasn't using DJI credits, which is a totally separate thing, but if I was using just my cash for now, I think until DJI actually improves their customer support, I would either go to a DJI store, the Apple store, or maybe buy off of Amazon, or even a company like droneworks.com. Somewhere I know that if one of the products does come and there's a faulty issue with it, it'd be easy for me to exchange it or to get it just a new one. I have a hard time getting a new product and then sending it back to have it fixed. I'd rather just return it and then get a new product and go at it all over again.
Yeah, I understand that. That's once you have experienced the flaw, you have a little hard time trusting if it's repaired that it's you basically just want something that works. But yes, I guess that's for all of us.
Yes.
So okay, yeah, okay. So let's. I think I'll move on to the next thing, and that's actually a Mavic related issue, and that was something that I experienced, and I think quite a few other Mavic pilots has experienced during the time, and it's actually this gimbal overload error. So just run this video. And what you can see here is actually what happens is when I start the Mavic, the gimbal tries to initialize, and then stops somewhere. It sort of gives up, and then it will not get to the final position. And the funny part is I actually tried to play around with it, and I found out that if I put it on the side, I could actually make it calibrate. So this is just an example of that. And I guess it must be the cable inside the gimbal that was sort of worn, or short-circuited when it was standing normally. But when I put it on the side, I could actually make it work. It was kind of a strange issue, and it came out of nowhere. I never crashed my original Mavic Pro.
It works now.
And I had to go to do some 3D modeling through my work, and to capture some 2D images and convert them into a 3D model. And I never got off the ground because of this error. And let me just go back here. And what actually happened is I got hold of DJI, and they sent me a return label, and I shipped the product for them, and they returned it to me 10 days after, I think. It was a total of 10 days processing time from DJI. So that part was actually working pretty well. And the label was auto-generated, and I just had to put it in the original box. And that's, thank you, Ken Heron, for Super Chat. And actually, I got it back there. So that part worked pretty well. The problem was, which we will talk about a little bit later, I got another unit back. It was not the same one that I sent back to DJI, and that was actually flawed. So, but we will cover that a little bit later. So that part was, of course, not so good. And actually, that leads us to the next one, because that is a problem that you know as well, Sean. That is you started by actually defining this error as the drunken horizon. I found that pretty amusing actually. Maybe you could, while we run this video, you could describe what the problem actually is with the Drunken Horizon.
Yeah, I'll do my best. My video is a bit lagged, so when I'm seeing things...
Right now it shows the windmills.
Okay, so as you can see in the windmills, as you're banking or turning on the severe case of the Drunken Horizon, as I call it, your camera is actually rolling back and forth. So there's no way to actually keep your horizon level or even close to level. It'd be one thing if it was just a crooked horizon and you could use, the trick where you hold your C2 and then adjust your wheel to straighten your horizon or go in your settings, straighten your horizon. And then if it would just occasionally get off, that's one thing. But this is something that would constantly sway. It's almost if you were out to sea on a boat and it was a rocky ocean and you're standing there just watching things move back and forth. It's if you're flying FPV, it would almost probably be sickening.
Mm. But I saw this as well, and I got a lot of comments from people saying, okay, you could just correct it in the DJI Go interface by straightening it. But the problem is that it's not a static issue. It happens when you actually move the drone. So how would you fix that? That's almost impossible, and it is a flaw. And I would say to all of you that has this problem, that DJI recognizes this as a problem. So there's no reason not to get it fixed. It took me like 3 attempts to get it fixed, but that's another story.
I think you actually lucked out. Yours is fixed. I still have a third Mavic Pro. I sent mine back 3 times. It took a month to get mine back, this gimbal issue. And my current one has gotten progressively worse over the last year. And now my DJI Care Fresh is expired, so I probably couldn't send it in for this issue even though it's a defect.
Yeah, there's a difference between you and I, because I can actually do it still, because I'm out of Europe and we actually covered with 2 years of warranty.
I did not know that.
And so I can send it in basically, and especially if the same flaw that it was sent in with originally.
Yeah,
but it was kind of stupid because fair enough, they sent me another defect unit. That can happen. But then when I returned it, they actually said that, okay, now it's okay. So they sent me another defect unit.
Yeah,
that's when I started to be a little bit annoyed with them and actually telling them that this is not okay, because they could at least test for the error that I reported before they sent something back to me.
Well, if they sent you a brand new unit, then they wouldn't be able to open it up and know.
But I don't think it's a brand new. Actually, to be honest, I can't prove it, but because there's all sorts of theories out there about that you could see it from the serial number if it's a refurbished unit, and it also smelled new, but it was pretty strange. It was loaded with some crap old firmware, and I don't believe it was a new unit, this one, and it had a hard time. Actually, the video link was breaking up as well. It was so flawed, this one. And then when I sent that one back, I actually got the same one back. So it seemed that they took that one apart and actually repaired it. Yeah. So I got not only a refurbished one, I got a repaired refurbished one. I think.
And it's funny, this actually brings me up, I think, into our next video, is whenever I went through my Drunken Horizon issues going back and forth with them, the first one they sent me back was 100% refurbished. The bags themselves were used. The drone itself was scratched up. So I sent that one back. They asked me if they wanted me to open up one and check it to make sure it didn't have that. And I was like, no, just send me a new one sealed straight from the box. And they sent me a third one out that was brand new, guaranteed. It was obviously brand new. It was sealed, packaged, everything in a brand new box. The whole entire fly motor combo was brand new.
Okay, but you returned everything. I didn't only return the flawed things, and not even the batteries or anything I returned. I was asked not to. And I asked to get a brand new unit because I tried this a few times. And the lady that I talked to, she said that she couldn't guarantee that. She could write it as a request, but it was solely up to the repair team to decide if they wanted to send you a refurbished one or a brand new one.
I see, and their latest part of their problem is they seem to be all over the place. For me, they actually asked for me to send the bags back and everything that came with the fly more combo. They wanted it all back. As soon as I I mentioned that the Horizon was doing the sway thing, they instantly knew. They didn't even ask me to do any kind of IMU calibrations, camera calibrations. They were aware of the issue, and they had me send it all back.
But I specifically, what do you want me to send back? Send only the remote and the unit itself inside the original box. So it seems they're not consistent in the way that they're handling it. Did you talk to them by the phone? Yeah, every time.
I've talked to them by chat and phone for both times. A year ago, I did chat and phone, and I was going nowhere. So I made that video from a year ago called Dear DJI. And
Yeah, I remember that one.
It showed the bags all ripped up. And within hours of that video going live, I got a phone call from someone who spoke perfect English. That was a supervisor at it was then at Carson, California, for the repair center. And he was like, what can I do to get this fixed? And I was like, I just want a working one. And so he worked with me and got me a new one out within a few days. I mean, but the whole process took about a month.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a long time. If you rely on your drone, it's a long time. It's a long time to be without your toy.
Especially in both cases for myself, they were brand new. They were brand new, same day, noticed the problem.
Yeah.
Both of them took about a month. I mean, my current one took me 26 days to get a refund.
Yeah, but I guess this is something you fear when you buy a product in that price range, is that you have to mess with all that stuff. Of course, it's they keep pushing the boundary for technology, so of course there will be units that are flawed. But I feel that they could do maybe a better job to streamline this process and get some working gear in the hands of people, at least those that experience issues.
I definitely agree. I want to clarify, I'm not sitting here trying to tell everybody on these videos I've made that stay away from DJI.
No, not at all.
We're definitely the leader at this price range of drones out there in camera gear. I mean, you've got their Osmo is a pretty neat little invention also.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I also still a big DJI fan, and they are hard to get around because they push the industry tremendously to do new stuff. Imagine what's possible 3 years ago with the Phantom 2, stuff like that, and what you can do today. That's it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. I'm really bummed that my Air didn't work, because I've seen your videos as well as some other friends of mine with Airs, and the camera seemed to definitely be quite a bit better.
Yeah, and the size is fantastic. I really like the way it packs in the back. Okay, I guess the original Mavic Pro DJI bag is also pretty compact. You did a video about that, as I think at some point when you showed it could be a little bit tricky to pack it. It's like a live Tetris.
Yes, it was. I was actually on a group, I don't remember, some DJI group on Facebook, and some guy was claiming it was impossible to put all the stuff that comes in the Fly More combo in the bag.
Yeah.
And no, it's not. And he's just started cussing me out and being this. It was amazing. It was the most insane thing ever. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to just show you. It is. So I made the video, and it's sort of all blown up from there.
Yeah, but the new bag. Oh, if I can get it here. The new bag for the Mavic Air, that is a pretty nice. It's a pretty nice little kit where you have the batteries and everything in there. I really like that.
Yeah, I personally, with the Mavic Air, I was looking forward to how small it was to fit in a pocket, and how you could just take it off without the controller, and I could bring it with me snowboarding or something like that, launch it with my hand and have it just follow me, and then land it and put it back in my pocket and continue snowboarding.
Yeah, I guess that's the dream everybody has, but you know how it is in real life. You will never do that because you need the extra batteries and you need all that. So
yeah.
But yes, yeah, okay, maybe you're right. I've been out filming a few times. I just pop a few batteries in my the top jacket thingy. So I just have the two batteries, and then I unpack the drone from the car, and then yeah, okay, maybe that'd be nice to take it out. Yeah, when you snowboard out there, that could be pretty amazing to do some footage with the drone.
I plan to do some with Mavic Pro. I have a little mountain that we're going to climb ourselves and have the Mavic Pro follow us, but I haven't done a whole lot following feature or active track on the Mavic Pro, so I've got to do some testing before doing that, because to hike up all the way and then snowboard down, if the footage doesn't work, I don't want to spend another 2 hours hiking back up to try again.
That's true. And one thing you need to be aware of is, and that goes for both of them, no obstacle avoidance on the sides.
Yes, true.
I actually almost lost my Mavic Pro one time because of that. I was brand new and had to start to do, of course I need to do active track at a parking lot with my unicycle, and I had to film it with my Osmo at the same time. I had to do all sorts of stuff at the same time, and I almost crashed it into a tree on the first flight. So that was
recently posted of your Mavic Air. You go right through the trees on the boomerang, I think it was.
Yes. I sent in. It's actually it's Kelly from Ready Set Drone that is doing like a near miss video. I don't know, follow up with his subscribers, and I submitted this clip to be part of that video where I almost lose my Mavic Air in some trees because I was doing a helix and it was not covered by the side protection, the side sand. There's no sensors on the side, so yeah. Actually, that brings me to another thing, if we have to go back to these support issues, because I actually experienced something really strange with the Mavic Air. And I just want to run this video by you guys. I was starting to get this really strange message that the Wi-Fi connection or the image transmission was too weak. And what you will see here in a second is that I'm standing right next to the drone, so that's pretty odd. And at the same time, you will see I tried to restart the thing, but when it boots up, I actually think I tried to go into the Wi-Fi menu, and you see it's all red bars all over the place, more or less. So I really can't explain what happened there. And it was such a shame, because it was such a beautiful day, and I had to go and do some filming, and I never got off the ground. So now you see, if you look here, see. The whole 2.4 gigahertz spectrum is sort of blocked out. It just keeps getting worse. So see, okay, there's a few channels available, but then, boom, everything goes haywire. And the channels with 3 digits, they are actually the 5.8 gigahertz, but I guess somehow they are not affected. I did try to switch to 5.8. But that didn't help, so I never flew that day. Then when I went back home, I tried to shift or replace the small cable that goes, micro USB cable that goes from the remote to the phone, and just use I think it was the micro USB cable that came with the Mavic Pro, and then everything was fine. And I tried to switch back to the little mini cable that I thought was not working. And still it was fine. I haven't seen the error since, so I really don't know what that was. It was pretty scary if that happened, if you're in air.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's always crazy if you lose your visuals.
Yeah, I actually heard a story. I have a Danish Facebook group as well, where we discuss DJI drones and stuff. And there was actually one there that had a problem where he lost visual contact to the drone, and because he was less than 20 meters away from the drone, it actually decided to land. The problem was there was a tree underneath, so it landed on top of the tree, so he actually ended up having a lot of problems there. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that shouldn't be possible. If the downward sensors are working, they should scan for that.
You would think so. I don't rely on my sensors on my Mavic. I actually have my downward sensors turned off. I fly with them on, and the front-facing sensor, I never assume it's going to work. I mean, if it does, that's great, but I never fly in a way that I just assume the technology is going to do my job for me. And so far, I've never wrecked. So.
Yeah, there's a few tricks that you need to know how to fly the drone without all the assistance, especially if it switches away from GPS position hold and into ADI mode. I don't know if you ever tried that, but that's pretty scary. Yeah, you have flown a Chroma before? Stuff like that, where you have to be prepared for all sorts of unexpected stuff. So you know what that feels. But if you haven't tried that before, and people always say, you should learn to fly your Mavic without GPS assistance. But the problem is that you can't force it into not being locked into the position. So how can you practice? So you will experience it when it's about to go wrong.
Very true. That was one thing I did like the Chroma. You could turn off all GPS and you could fly it just completely manual. It was a blast to fly that way.
You used to be able to do that on the Phantoms. You could do that on my Phantom 3 at least. You would just switch it into whatever A mode, I think, ADI mode.
Yes, I heard you tinfoil over the top of your Mavic and it does the same thing.
yeah, I guess you could do that.
I'd like to say, I noticed in the chat, Outdoors IQ is asking about the DJI chat. I want to clarify that we don't know 100% if a DJI member will be in the chat room. If so, they might not even be labeled as a DJI member. They could just be listening to what you guys say in there. Basically, what we do need you guys to do is to leave some comments and suggestions towards DJI. And tomorrow evening, I will be getting a phone call from a supervisor at DJI, and I want to bring these suggestions and comments to them, and then I will get back with you with what they say. So just to answer your question real quick.
Yes, of course. We can easily pop in a few questions here. It's a lot easier to keep an eye on the chat when you're two people. But finally, not finally, but do put in some comments. Everything that you can think that can contribute to this discussion, put it in. Because Sean will, of course, have the link and the replay of this session, so he can use that and provide that for DJI, so they can study all your comments. And all the chat comments are being baked in as part of the video, so nothing will get lost, sort of. Yes and no. I'm not really sure actually. Because it gives you a warning that the surface below you is not suited for landing or not suited for landing. And how would it do that if there was no sensors enabled?
Yeah, the sensors, you have to manually turn them off to get them to turn the downwards off.
Yeah. So let's see what else is here.
A video clip to show the condition of the bag and the propellers that
we were really happy to get that question.
The propellers came back broken too, so it was pretty obvious it was a used product.
But I have a clip that you sent me, so we can just play that. Should we do that?
Sure.
Yeah, so let's do that.
I have a DJI Mavic Pro. I got it January 20th. By January 21st, I noticed that I had issues with my gimbal. I've been dealing with customer support for, on and off since the 21st of January.
We're back again. We're just discussing Sean's setup in the back. Maybe let's go here. Let's see. Maybe you could just. Let's see. Okay, let's discuss the back, and then we can just do. Maybe you could just say a little bit about the skateboards in the back after that. But let's talk about the back video.
Sure. So the bag, as you can see, had some rips in it and some impressions in it, and the propeller that they sent back for whatever reason had a tear in it. I don't know why they sent those back to me. You'd think somebody would check that stuff before it goes out, but that was the first replacement for my Mavic Pro from 2017. I guess it was in January, and that's pretty much when that came back like that. That's when I got just so fed up, and that's when I made that first video, and that's when they contacted me, and the rest. When I first got my Mavic Pro back from them, the horizon actually wasn't all messed up. It actually was pretty locked on. That was with 400 firmware. And now I'm not even sure what firmware I'm at now. There's been so many updates in the last year, but it's definitely, if you yaw, the horizon stays perfect, but if you bank side to side, the horizon still tilts.
Yeah, but as you saw in the video I made about it, I have to flick it in sports mode to. Otherwise, it's pretty stable. I don't know what the manual actually says about that part, specifically that part, but I don't think it's supposed to stay level during sport mode. You can do some
Yeah.
pretty crazy maneuvers there.
See, I can turn mine into a tripod mode, and it still banks the same way.
Ah, okay, yeah, but that's clearly a flaw.
Yeah.
So, but now you have passed the chance to get it exchanged. So what to do? Want to try and fix it yourself?
I've actually found a way to fly where I can bank and yaw at the same time, and it's minor, so minor when I do both sticks at the same time in certain maneuvers that I can then edit around it and still use it. So that's pretty much where I'm at with it.
And then you wait for the Mavic Pro 2.
I'm keeping my eyes open. I did get my refund with my Mavic Air yesterday, so I've got the full refund. And as long as the Mavic Air 2, if it's announced next month, we'll see. I might pick one up.
Yeah, but you know what my opinion is about that. I think it will be announced, but I don't think it will be available anytime soon.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if they hang on to it until Autel's Evo is actually announced with a release date, and then they announce the release date. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's what happens.
Yeah, that's likely. So let's see. Let's see if we have. I guess we are more or less through the support cases. Maybe I just want to say a few words about the skateboards in the back. And you have actually decorated those, and
Yeah, 3 in the middle are my own artwork. This one's finished. The skull. This one is an octopus that still needs some more paint done on it, and this one over here is at early stages of painted.
it looks cool. At least some of them I can recognize from earlier videos.
Yeah, I've tried to remember to throw those up every time I move to a new location. Some kind of familiar feeling to the videos.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's see what we have here.
Oh, and this little thing right here, Henrik, you're going to laugh at this.
Yeah, what's that?
This little play button.
Yeah.
Can you tell what that is? When I hit 1,000 subs, my girlfriend and her daughter got clay and made me a fake play button. It was so sweet.
Yeah, that's there's a long way to the real silver one.
Yes, right. And this is a bowling pin that I painted True Fire on. I don't know if it shows or not, but
Yeah. It's amazing that you can actually do this.
lots of practice.
You gotta make a video that shows how you do that someday.
That's an idea that I could do.
So let's see if there's any more support related questions here. There's CoJC says after every repair or replacement 6 months of warranty, and that is I guess for Europe. That's I can't confirm it, or I'm not sure about that. That might be so. It would be fair if it was like that. So if you had your Mavic repaired the last day of the warranty and you got it back and it had the same error, that you could basically have a chance to get it fixed, that would be more than fair.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I scrolled up in the comments and I see one by, I can't pronounce this, Koz Jeg Yaizo.
Yeah, that's the same guy that talked about the 6 months after warranty, yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
He was talking about, that's you were just talking about, so never mind. I'm a little slow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree. You can't, with what he's saying, you got to try it. You don't know if it's flawed unless you open it up and actually try it.
Yeah, he actually did make a comment earlier in the chat about his friend having 4 flawed Mavic Pros.
Crazy.
I don't know if it's the same error, but if it is, then it's really, really, really bad.
You know what's funny is, and I could be completely incorrect, but my intuition tells me you might not have this store where you're at, but Best Buy is a store out here that sells a lot of electronics, computers, drones, cameras, TVs, phones, and it's a pretty popular store here in the States. And it used to have a great return policy. You could go in, buy any product, and just come back and return it.
Yeah.
No questions, they would just take it back.
Yeah.
They changed their policy on drones, and it was probably a few months after the Mavic Pro had come out, and part of me almost thinks that they changed the policy because there were so many Mavic Pros having to be returned for gimbal issues, camera issues, among other things.
Yeah, maybe. I actually also went to the original retail store in here locally to get mine fixed, and they said to me, "You're much better off going directly to DJI." So I guess they, because what they had to, it's a little bit like with Apple products. They're not allowed to fix them themselves. He's a pretty skilled guy, so he could fix almost anything, but they're not allowed to touch them. They have to send it to DJI repair center to have them fixed. So he said it would be much better if you just provided proof of purchase and then send it directly to DJI.
Yeah, there's also DJI stores similar to the Apple store out here. I guess they're in Europe as well, but there's one here in Denver. It's about 80 miles from me, and I actually called them when my Mavic Air had issues to see if they would take the Mavic Air and just give me a new one in exchange. Since they're DJI, I mean, they're not directly DJI owned, but they're affiliated with DJI to some degree. I'm not quite sure the specifics, but they're not able to. DJI will not let them do an exchange from online to in-store, so they weren't able to help me.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they are connected here in Denmark, but at least the shop that I know, Droner.dk, where I bought my Mavic Air, they have their own repair shop. I don't know how they will handle issues like that, or if they would just pass me on to DJI in Holland. I think I had to send it to Holland. I don't know.
You look at customer support like on Amazon.com. They take your package and they send you out a new one prior to you even putting your old one, your broken one, in the mail to them. So they're crossing streams in the mail.
Yeah, you tried to suggest that to DJI, but that didn't work.
No, I spoke with the supervisor who I'm going to speak with on Thursday. I spoke with her, I guess, 2 nights ago, and I did briefly bring that up, and I also brought it up with the original guy. The first guy, he just was oblivious. It's obvious that the original customer support calls that all of us do go to a call center, and I think that's a huge part of the problem DJI possibly has with their customer support is it's a bunch of people sitting there behind computers that don't actually know the products, that don't fly the products, that haven't actually had to fix any of the products. Yeah. So they're just reading off of the screen, and they're doing their best to do their jobs. Hey, I'm not mad at them whenever I have these issues because it's not their fault. It's just frustrating. So it's very hard not to get frustrated in the middle of a phone call with these tech guys, or not really tech guys, but guys behind a computer.
Sure. They're just put there to solve their job, and of course, if they don't have the proper experience, then it falls back on DJI, and it falls back on the image as a technology drone provider, and if the staff can't answer simple questions like the one with your remote, they should be able to do that. That's at least a place where they could improve.
Simple answer. Now, someone did get with me later from DJI to tell me how to stop the beeping, but it was the next day, and I've already figured it out by then. So
okay. So let's try and sum this up. In your opinion, where could DJI improve this process?
Well, honestly, to me, and this is, I understand the need for call centers. They're a huge corporation now. They have thousands upon thousands of these products out, and the more they have out, the more that they're going to have a percentage of them that go bad. Or it's going to seem like it. It might be the same percentage as a company that has less drones, but because there are so many more, there's going to be more heard about it. Now, with these call centers, for America at least, it's really hard for us whenever they hire someone with such a heavy accent that we can't make out what they're saying half the time. That makes it a frustrating experience. if they want to hire call centers outside of the states, that's their prerogative. They can do what they want to do. That's fine. But if they're dealing with the states, they need to have at least an accent that's not so heavy that they're not understandable. I think a lot of the comments I've seen in my videos comment about how heavy the accents are. I don't think it's anything against those people that are doing the jobs. I just think people get frustrated because they can't understand and communicate because of that. And communication goes a very far way.
Yeah. So do you prefer the phone, or you could use the chat, because that would sort of eliminate that issue?
I have used the chat, and I used it the day that the only reason I called on the phone was because the chat guy said, just put it and let the battery drain on the remote. That was his fix. Yeah. Just let it drain. And I was like, really? That's you got for me? And they told me I could call chat. So, and one of the reasons I called chat on top of or called directly, not the chat, but went from the chat to calling, was because it actually went smoother on the phone call for the Mavic Pro than it did whenever I was using chat. On the Mavic Pro, I was using chat and then ended up going to a phone call, and that solved or helped get the transaction done faster.
I've actually never talked to them on the phone. I use the chat every time because I like being able to document what it is that has been going back and forward. Of course, you did that with the camera, but I have never done that. Maybe I should do that next time. But one thing that was pretty special was they asked me to check some stuff. They gave me a list of stuff that I need to try out with the drone. I need to install the latest firmware, do a refresh with the DJI Assistant app, and I was not really convinced it would work, but I thought, okay, then at least I've done that to make sure that that would fix the problem. But then when I got back the next day in the chat, I actually got the same person, or at least digitally the same person, but he or she was replying in the same manner than the first one. So I actually think I did that. So I think somehow they try to connect you with the same guy that was or girl that was handling the case the day before, if that is possible.
I think that would be great. That would definitely help if the person remembers you and they make
exactly, because the person could actually remember. Maybe they look back in the backlog of the communication, because you need to give out your DJI ID when you start these chat sessions. So maybe that was the case. I don't know, but I felt that part worked pretty well. That we could sort of continue where we got off, and I could tell I'd done testing of this, and this, and I did a small video. That's actually another good tip, is whenever you see a problem, record a video of it. Use a screen recorder or anything that will record your screen to demonstrate the problems that you have. That eases the process, the return process, a lot.
I agree. I think that does two things. One, it shows the person what's going on, so if they can help you, they will. And two, it's almost sad that we have to make these videos to get the customer service that we deserve without making these videos.
Yeah.
I'd probably still not have a refund. It took forever to get the label to even send it back when they said it was going to be expedited by 2 days. If they're going to say 2 days expedited, then it should be 2 days, not 7 to 14. That's just business to me.
That is. So, yeah. Okay,
so those small things that I could see them trying to correct. If they're gonna, I don't see any reason why they couldn't fix their return. If you have to ship it into them, either give people 1 day air if they don't want to just ship it out like Amazon does. That's why I've been pushing using Amazon. That's why I've been pushing using companies like DroneWorks, because they will take your product back and just give you a new one, and then they deal with DJI, not us.
Yeah. So I have one thing that I've thought we should maybe talk about is what is a reasonable processing time for a support request? You think if it has to go in and back?
I think that varies. If you have a brand new product that you've just opened and you called the same day that it shows it was shipped to you, or that you bought it, I think that should be pretty quick, because that should just be an exchange. Where if you've had a product for a while and let's say you do not have DJI Care Refresh and they're just going to fix your product, I think that would take longer. 2 weeks for something like this, maybe up to 3 if needed, but 2 would probably be what I would shoot for if it was my company.
I now you mentioned DJI Care Refresh. I partly agree with what you're saying, but just want to mention that that I was thinking a lot if I should get that for the Air, because I actually purchased it for the Mavic Pro, and none of the issues that I had ever got treated differently because I had the Care Refresh. I could have chosen to pay the money, but I think when the product is flawed, they should fix it. I don't need to pay $100 or how much it was to get a new drone.
I agree. All the problems I've had were always issues with the drone or manufacturing.
Yeah.
I just noticed in the chat someone named Shack1 Relocation. He says with Refresh you get a whole new unit if you crash, even if it was your fault. That's up for debate. Some people do get a whole new unit.
Yeah.
New in the key word here. Some people have gotten refurbished units, and I've seen that multiple times. A new unit doesn't come with scratches on it. So
it's in the wording. If you actually read what they are writing, is they write that they will provide you with a new one or a unit that has similar capabilities of a new one or something. I can't remember the exact wording, but they put it very nicely. So it will either it's a new one or it's something that is as good as new.
Yeah, exactly. Myself, they word that very carefully so that it can just be something close to what you had.
Yeah. Of course, they will probably make sure that it works and all these things, but as you said, there's seen examples of when it actually scratches on the unit, and that was why I thought one of my Mavic Pros was refurbished. There was actually a small scratch on the front of the chassis.
Yeah.
That was not a manufacturing defect.
Right.
Yeah. So even though it smelled completely new, I still to this day believe it's not.
Yes.
So
I'm positive mine wasn't, and it's not just through my videos. So many people have reached out to me who have had similar issues that have 100% gotten something that wasn't a new product. So I believe that they do send refurbished units, and if they had just stated that in the DJI Care Refresh and were very clear about it, I don't think it would be such an issue. I think they need to just be upfront about what they're doing. I think that's the big issue.
Yeah, because people are buying into the fact that they can pay sub $100 to get a brand new drone if they sort of destroy it or fly it into a tree or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So of course it's disappointing if you get a refurbished.
Well, and here in America, instead of getting the DJI Care Refresh, you can actually get State Farm Insurance. There's I think it's a POP or PAP policy, personal articles policy is what I think it is. I have one on mine, and I repay it every year for $60, and it covers theft, crashes, loss, or just pretty much everything with the drone. And they just write you a check for the entire amount of what you actually paid for the product. So that's sort of a cool alternative, although certain states, like I think California, don't. So for $60, it's guaranteed, which is less than DJI Care Refresh.
Does it also cover if you lose it?
It does. You could crash it in a lake. You could lose it on an airplane.
Because that's sort of that's where my fear is, and that's where the refresh is not covering you, is if you actually lose it, if you have a flyaway or something.
Yeah, if you have a flyaway, they'll just write you a check. And from what I gather, and I've talked to them and other people who have claimed, they will write you a check for the full amount. So if you get the Fly More combo, you get enough to go buy a new Fly More combo for what it cost you when you got it. So for myself, I think it would be close to $1,300, even though the new Fly More combo is cheaper. Yeah. So I'd have to get the Fly More combo 2 on the Mavic Pro 2 if that ends up being real.
Yeah, but I guess that's a nice option if you're in the US. I'm not aware of a similar option here locally.
I would just search through your insurance policies that you have with your car and see if they have something called a personal articles policy. So it's the same thing that you would insure a wedding ring. That's one of the biggest things they insure with that kind of policy is a wedding ring, or, computers, things like that.
I should have known that because I actually lost 2. The original one I lost in Spain, I think it was. We're going into the water, in the cold water. Then it slipped off my finger, and then my wife, she bought me a new one for my 40th birthday. And believe it or not, I did the same thing in Portugal.
House that night, huh?
So I'm disqualified in that category. So, yeah, okay. So I see there's a lot of stuff going on in the chat right now. Somebody fired the chat, fired up under the chat button here. So let's see if there's something in there that we need to. It's good with all these comments. I think the representative from DJI will have a lot to look up on.
I think so too. And you guys continue to leave suggestions, and just don't make them hostile, because if they're going to really consider anything that we might have to offer them for what we think would help their support case, if we're jerks about it, they're not going to listen to us. They might not listen to us anyways, but at least this way we have a chance to be heard.
Yeah, Rick Halbor is saying that, suggesting that they should offer next day shipping at a good price. Actually, that part they could accelerate. Like you're saying, if they send you a refurbished drone anyway, once the unit is in the mail, they could just send out a new one.
I agree. Amazon does it, so there's definitely a way to do it. And it's funny because I did mention it to this lady the other day, and her response was that I wish I had this recorded, but she called and I wasn't expecting to call at the time.
Yeah.
But she said something along the lines of how in China, where they do business, their views on giving money back or giving something without having the product back is different than what it is over here in America. So
yeah,
they're really.
But as you said at some point, that could be fixed by, I don't know, leaving your credit card as a deposit or something that. In the meantime, until everything is sort of in order, in a digital world, everything is possible in regards to that, to speed that up.
I suggested to her, they're a big company. Why don't they contact the CEO or someone over there at the whatever department they need to at Amazon and ask how they do it. Just get the behind the scenes on how they make it work. There's got to be someone.
But they are trying, at least they're trying to emulate Apple. You know, we both discussed that they're not doing that particularly good. But they're trying to emulate Apple, so maybe they should just go into Apple Store and buy a product and try the customer service that you get there.
That would be a great suggestion, because I've always had, at least at an Apple Store directly, amazing customer service.
Absolutely. At least in the US, it's amazing you really feel welcome and they take care of you in a good way.
Well, I had an Apple computer a few years ago that had issued right out of the box, and I seem to have that luck with electronics for some reason. But they were quick to take it back, fix it, no questions asked, and if there was any other issues, they were going to take it back again. But they were very welcoming about it.
I had an iPhone at some point. It was draining the battery super fast, and I just went into the store and told them about the issue, and they said you could pay $80 and then you would get a refurbished one. So, and I walked away the same day with a new phone, or what at least seemed to me like a new phone.
But when the iPhone originally came out, the 3G iPhone from ages ago, I had one that had the where you can turn the button from mute to active.
Yeah.
It was, and 4 of them in a row were just wiggly and loose, and they had no problems. They just kept swapping it out, no problems, until we got one that actually worked.
So that could be one advice to DJI, is if they want to be the Apple, the drone world's Apple company, then look at their support system as well.
Yes, I'm skimming through the chat right now to see if there's something that we should maybe talk about. Dead air.
See.
Oh, I've heard good things. Someone mentioned Carolina Drones. I've also heard good things about their company and their return policies. I've not used them personally myself, but I have heard good things. I've heard great things about Autel's customer service. I have not had an Autel product yet. I almost got the pumpkin, the orange one, the X-Star Premium.
Okay.
But then the Mavic Pro came out, and it was just, there was no choice. For me, that was the perfect portability with the Mavic Pro.
I've been approaching Autel many times, and they are quite responsive. It's a nice company. I want to position myself to have a look at this Evo when it comes out. So see if I succeed with that. I think you will have a better chance actually, because you're US based. They don't think they do much here in Europe.
I would love to do something with the Autel, especially if they were willing to do a test product to send me an Evo. I would love to take. I think in my lifestyle and the hiking and the traveling and everything, it would be nice to put that by the Mavic Pro and see the differences.
Yeah, I don't know if you have seen footage from a Autel product, but it's supposed to be, according to Bo Lorentzen, the FPV guy. It should be a pretty good camera. At least the way they handle it is the picture quality of an Autel drone should be amazing.
You know, the X-Star Premium had a great camera on it. The only thing that I didn't like on the Premium was the lens flare was really weird looking to me. There was always like a little triangle lens flare depending on where the camera was pointed, instead of a typical lens flare that was more...
Okay. Okay, so let's see. So there's 1,000. iPhone is $1,000. The DJI drone is around the same amount. I would expect the same quality of service. Absolutely agree on that part. So let's see, what else do we have? See, my chat is not. You can pre-order. Rick is saying you can pre-order the Evo and now at B&H. I also feel that it's close.
You can also pre-order it through droneworks.com or drone-works.com. I know that Zach over there's taking pre-orders too. I'm not sure when the release date is. I haven't heard anything about
Sharkification says it's a bit cheeky of DJI thinking a third-party insurance is the way to go. Since to refresh, you have to return the unit before they will do anything. And I absolutely agree. That weakens that product tremendously. Because just imagine if you lose a prop or something out over the water, then you will lose your drone and your $1,000.
I think they do now, if you have water damage to your drone, I think they will still give you something, but you still have to give them something back. And in some ways, I can understand them wanting to do that, because someone could just say they lost their drone in water and not. But with insurance in America, that's a pretty big charge. That's to claim something's gone or broken and it not be. You can get in a lot of trouble for that out here if you get caught.
Yeah. But I guess you must have the flight log or something on the phone, so that could be used as evidence. I don't know.
Yeah, from what I understand with the State Farm, they just cut you a check. You just call and tell them, and it's broken, it's gone, it's stolen, whatever. There you go.
Nice.
Except in California.
It's a smaller sensor, the Evo, though, not the one with the 1-inch sensor. I guess he's referring to the one you can pre-order now. That is with the same sensor size as you have in Mavic Pro and Mavic Air.
Yeah, from what I understand, the Evo has not confirmed they are actually making a 1-inch sensor. They've talked about it if there's enough demand, but they've not confirmed they're actually doing it.
And there are prototypes of it. You can see that if you see the CS footage on the stand, there are 1-inch sensor types.
They teased us with it because I think everybody wants that one. So they'd be crazy, in my opinion, not to make it.
DJI will force them to do that, because if they want to keep these price points, and with the rumors of Mavic 2, then I think we will eventually get it.
I think so.
So
Justin here says he just got a Mavic Air a few days ago and is supposed to be here this Friday, and he's nervous. don't be nervous. It's an amazing product. Just
Yes.
because and a few others had a little bit of luck. If this makes you feel better, from what I've seen and what I've researched, the Mavic Air has a very much smaller issue rate than the Mavic Pro.
Agree.
So odds are very good that you'll get one that works just fine.
How can you not like a drone this size?
Yeah, right.
This is such a nice little thing. It's really nice.
Yeah, I was and the gimbal guard is well constructed on it as well compared to the Mavic Pros.
I don't know if you've seen this extreme testing video that's out there. We should have brought that because that's actually a pretty good example of how durable the Mavic Air is. But of course, we're talking about the opposite thing when it breaks, but they do some crazy stuff with this drone. They fly it sport mode, full speed with the obstacle avoidance disabled into a tree.
Oh my gosh, I didn't see that. That's crazy. I wish I had the money to burn to try those things.
They really beat up the Mavic Air, so I will not be worried as well. But of course, early adapters that got some of the first ones that is out of the production line, there's a risk that we will see issues. And as you say, the construction is much better. The gimbal is much better. As I mentioned in one of my previous live streams, I slammed mine from 1.5 meters into the concrete floor because I dropped it by accident. I might suspect I was fearing this was causing the Wi-Fi issue I showed previously, that I knocked something loose inside. But
you're stuck working again after you did some resets, though, right?
yes, it still is. I had to do like a full EMU calibration. After that, it worked again.
I do think they are more durable than people think they are.
Yeah.
Everybody telling you how I have a video where I flow through that bit of clouds, and when I land, there's ice on my propellers. I have everyone like, "Oh, your propellers are going to be out of balance. You're going to crash." But there's videos out there. I have not done the test myself, but I believe these videos to be true, where they cut the prop and then still fly with the
I cut one prop, and then it still flies. Like making it so unbalanced that you can't believe it. So
with a tiny bit of ice, it's not gonna. The days of we needing to really bounce our props for a single nitro plane are not the same as with these products. They're just different products. They don't work the same.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I think maybe we are coming to an end. I don't know. What are you saying? Is there more we should look at into the chat?
Yeah, one thing, the only thing about the Mavic Air that I don't like as much as the Mavic Pro from just the construction is the controller. I actually could tell just off the bat, even though I didn't get to use it much, that missing the wheel for setting your ISO, as well as your C1 and C2 buttons being taken away, as well as your screen and thumbstick. I use the thumbstick all the time by the screen on my Mavic Pro for switching to straight down instantly or zooming in or zooming out. I even switch it to portrait mode that way sometimes. But all these features like the C1 and C2, I have one of them set up to refocus, the other one to flip over to maps real quick. All features I think they should have left in the controller.
Yeah, but I guess it's a way of differentiating these two products. I agree, especially the exposure wheel. I miss that a lot. I think it's pretty annoying. I have to stop the recording and go into the menu to change it on some of the digital switches that are in the bottom of the menu to get that right.
So I personally think it's a way for them to make a higher profit margin. And that's it. I think that's why they did it.
Yeah. And for guys that are thinking about that you can actually use the Mavic Pro remote for the Mavic Air, that's a no-go. Because one is OcuSync and the other one is Wi-Fi.
If you're new to this hobby and you've never flown a Mavic Pro and you're not using those features, they're not features you're going to miss. So if you don't have a drone, don't go buy the Mavic Pro if you're leaning towards the Mavic Air just because you see that thumbstick or the other couple of controls that are missing. That's not really the point between the two. That shouldn't be your deciding factor if you're leaning towards one or the other, I think.
I would say that the Mavic Air is, if you're first time purchaser that needs to go out and buy a drone, this is it's an amazing purchase. You could always discuss about the price. That should be lower. Of course, you want everything at a lower price, but you get a tremendous amount of value. You almost get the full feature set of the Mavic Pro. But actually, I noticed one thing. It's pretty slow actually, even though it has better specs than the Mavic Pro. When you fly it, it accelerates pretty slow when you compare them.
The Mavic Air.
Yeah, it does. Even though it's a lighter machine and has a more agile setup, it's. I noticed that a few times. If you get off the ground and you push the stick forward, it's pretty heavy in the butt before it gets up into speed.
Interesting. Yeah, in the comments here we get Shape One notification again saying he's a new pilot. I got the Mavic Pro Platinum combo.
Yeah,
drone. That's a great drone. So don't second guess yourself. That's a great product. As long as it's working and you don't have to worry about the drunken horizon, you're gonna love it. It's a great product.
Yes, the Platinum you get a lot of you get a little bit extra value compared to the original Mavic Pro.
And here we got Koz, again, that I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Cheers and C10. Yes, I have one of those as well.
Is worry, and this is a great point. Talking about the Mavic Air controller not having the screen with all the information on it. If your app crashes, that's it, and you're out of line of sight even for a second. You have no idea where you are. The only thing you could do is really, I guess, press the return to home button, or hope that you can figure out where you're at. Not having that information on there is it could. I guess you could have a good argument to have that screen still in that case.
I would wish when they do the Mavic Pro 2 that they actually build in a LCD display like you get with the Evo, so you have like a real screen.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So you don't depend on the phone, or you just have the phone as like the luxury of when recording video and stuff, and but the other one is the basic function.
I forgot all about that feature of the Evo, and that if that comes through with the Evo, then that's going to be a big selling point.
Yeah, it was I think I don't know 4 inch screen or something, built directly into the controller with image transmission.
Kaz Jizo again says first drone should be Cheerson C10. I'm not familiar with that one, but I actually had a Blade Nano. It doesn't have altitude hold. It has nothing. You're completely flying it yourself, and it was a blast to fly. It's a great little indoor toy. Actually, I think it's right behind me. This little guy, if you haven't seen them.
Yeah.
And they're just a blast. So, and that I think these, I don't know if they still make these, but these are like $90. So something like this is definitely, if you don't want to just go into $1,000 drone, buy one of these, learn how to fly it, and then do that. But now these new drones are so easy to fly, people are skipping this stage now. And, I'm on the fence if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
There's another option to go for if you want a cheap drone. I know this is out of the scope of this live stream, but hey, we're talking drones, so. But it's the Syma 5C. You know that one?
I do not. I'm not familiar with that one.
No, actually Kelly did a few, for Ready Set Drone did a few videos of that one. That is also a really nice beginner drone. It's a bigger one, so it will give you more the feeling of it. I think it's probably the size of your Chroma, and you get that for around $50 or something on these Chinese sites. So that's pretty affordable to get going with that one, and that will give you the basic skills.
If you've never flown anything from a helicopter to an RC plane, to even, especially if you haven't done RC cars, then I would definitely agree. I would buy a cheaper product, even if it's one of those little tiny ones. You get them all, something to just learn orientation to help you. I think that's definitely a plus.
Yeah. To learn to fly without GPS. You can even do flips then. Some of those
little ones do. I think we've caught most of the questions here. All I can say is, for me personally, if you are watching this after it's been live, please leave a comment in the description or a suggestion to let me bring this to DJI.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Your opinions or thoughts on something you would like to see improved on their customer service, because I have about 24 hours to gather those together to bring to them.
Yes. Okay, so maybe we should close this off. Let's see, that's the final comment there. How loud is the Mavic Air? How much? Yeah, I would definitely say that it's the sound level of Mavic Air. It's different than the Mavic Pro. It's more intense or high pitch.
I think higher pitch, yeah.
It has higher pitch because of the smaller props and the higher revs. So I haven't measured it, but there are plenty of videos out there that actually does a comparison. And now we mentioned Kelly from Ready Set Drone. He did, or at least his son did, a test where he took a sound meter and hold it below the Mavic Air, the Mavic Pro, and the Platinum, I think. So you can get a rough idea about the differences in the sound level of these three.
Just a few decibels between each one. The Spark seems to be the highest pitch and loudest. And as far as audio work, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking, Justin, but the cameras on the DJI line don't record audio. So you're going to have to add music or have them be as B-roll over you talking or something to that regard.
But the phone actually does.
Yeah, the phone can record. That's true.
But
So if you're
there's
flying,
something there. If can't you get the phone audio onto the drone footage? I think that is.
I actually have a video I started in July, not this last July, but July before, I filmed, and I have one version done already of just filming through fireworks. I don't know if you caught that. I fly right through a fireworks show.
Yeah,
And it was a local neighborhood show, but it was a very big fireworks show for a neighborhood. And I decided, hey, I've got insurance. Let me see what happens here. I flew right through it. But I had it recording with the audio, too, on my phone. So I was able to get those files off my phone. And I keep meaning to do a how-to video showing the ISO settings of fireworks and use that clip with the actual sounds of the fireworks popping in the video. I just haven't had time to get around to it.
No, I know. You have a lot of footage piled up. A lot of great footage.
Yeah.
And also to those of you that haven't visited Sean's channel, I will also leave in the description below, I will leave a link for his channel so you can go and check out some of the amazing stuff that you're doing. You have you do some funny vlogs. I really enjoy following your adventure for your new location and all the stuff you do with the snow and the snowboarding, and also the amazing place that you live. It's so I highly encourage you to go and check out Sean's channel.
To say to your subscribers, not only do I do the drone stuff and some tech stuff here and there, but my channel really is to show the story of somebody has been struggling most of their life, saving up, moving to a new location, starting over, and trying to live a new life and hopefully succeed. And so far, we are. So that's thumbs up for that. Let's keep it that way.
So yeah, I was just checking the last comments there, but I guess keep those comments flowing after we end this live stream here in a few seconds, and put them in the comments field, because then Sean can take them everything and provide them for DJI within the next 24 hours or so. Thank you, Sean, for joining me today. It has been a pleasure. And we could probably talk a lot of other stuff, and maybe you want to get back on the channel one day in another occasion. And it has been really fun to have you here and talk about these issues. And I hope everybody that has been watching has gained a little bit insight as well. So thank you, and I will run the outro now.
All right, everyone have a great day.
So.